What's going on, everybody out there? It's Ron Brown, LMT, the People's Fitness Professional. And today we have the brother Ahmed on again, back by popular demand. People want to hear what the brother has to say, especially about the Boule. All right, and we have him on today. So let's get it going on. First off, assalamu alaikum, brother Ahmed.
Wa alaikum salam, brother Ron. How are you this evening?
I'm fine, man. Just a little tired. If anyone follows me on social media, you see what I do every single day. I'm squatting heavy. I'm bench pressing heavy. I'm punching all kinds of stuff. So I'm a little tired today, but it's all good, man. We still get a good show for the people. So I don't know if you had anything to kind of piggyback off the last episode. But as you said, we needed two episodes for this Boule, you know, or continuation on the Boule. So if you want to just, man, you have the floor if you want to just go straight into it.
Okay. First of all, I would just like to reiterate from the book, Stolen Legacy. Stolen Legacy by Professor George G.M. James. And Mr. James was concerned, as I am and others, about the mental effects that societies such as the fraternities such as these college fraternities and the Boule in general, the effect that it has on our mental state, you know, especially for these children. All right, so they can have the knowledge. The thing is to have a knowledge of yourself, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. James in his book declared that there's no such thing as Greek philosophy. I just want to reiterate. Let me read from Mr. James' book, okay? I would like to state a quote from Mr. George G.M. James' book, Stolen Legacy, 1954. Quote from Mr. James, Professor James stated, "The term Greek philosophy to begin with is a misnomer, for there is no such philosophy in existence. The ancient Egyptians had developed a very complex religious system called the Mysteries, which was also the first system of salvation. As such, it regarded the human body as a prison house of the soul, which could be liberated from its bodily impediments through the disciplines of the arts and sciences and advance from the level of a mortal to that of a god." End quote. He went on to state that this was the notion of the sum bonum, or the greatest good, to which all men must aspire, and it also became the basis of all ethical concepts. Okay, so that's what we're getting at here. You have a society or societies that's based on something that does not exist. That's a mystery god, a mystery religion. Okay, it doesn't exist. There's no such thing as Greek philosophy. That's a lie. Okay, so Mr. James went further when he was addressing these college fraternities. On page 160, he stated that he wanted there should be a new philosophy of redemption. This must be done in the home to young children, in the colleges and the schools to students, from the pulpits and from platforms to audience, and in the fraternities and sororities to young men and women. This new philosophy of redemption, being a revelation of truth in the history of Black people's civilization, must become a necessary portion of their education and must be taught for generations and centuries to come in order to fill them with inspiration and pride and liberate them from mental servitude. Number one, he said that this was excuse me, and then he said in the second place, in this negative attitude, the Black people must demonstrate their disbelief in the false worship of Greek intellect. This should be done in the following three ways. One, they must discontinue the practice of quoting Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle in their speeches as intellectual models, because we know that their philosophy was stolen. Number two, they must relinquish membership in all Greek letter fraternities and sororities. And number three, they must abolish all Greek letter fraternities and sororities from all colored colleges, because they have been the source of the promotion of inferiority complex and of the educating of the Black people against themselves. Mm. And I agree. I agree. I agree with Mr. Professor's statement.
Now, can you repeat that statement one more time?
Which one? Part? The last part?
Yes.
Okay. He stated they must abolish all Greek lettered fraternities and sororities from all colored colleges, because they have been a source of the promotion of inferiority complex and of educating the Black people against themselves. End quote.
Okay. So with that, from what I'm hearing and interpreting, is that these Greek fraternities, right? So if we're talking about knowledge of self, and we would put in knowledge of self is the key foundation to keep us grounded and, standing for something so we don't fall for anything. And, to put Greek and at the forefront of your psychology, and, I think that would be detrimental, as far as like confidence, motivation to do great things and such, right? So like if we were like to create a fraternity that said like Kemetic fraternity, and it was like all, Black, then psychologically that would help, that would be in our favor. So I get his point, and I agree with that.
Yes, sir. Because I would, I don't see anything having like a research club, mutual aid society. Okay. And if you want to use ancient symbolism, what better people to go to than our own?
Right.
Our own people.
Right.
Their educational program, and then bring it up to a modern age. You could do it that way. But to glorify the white man is silly.
Right. You with my experience, right? Like I've worked around Europeans or white people for over 20 years, like really been in their world, so to speak, right? And I've been grounded in culture since the 5% Nation since 1996. So like knowledge of self, and before that, just like my household, like my pop and stuff like that, grandparents, so when I got into that world, I was able to maintain myself. But I noticed like other people though, they get kind of swept away and assimilate and kind of become white.
Yes.
And I think that also happens in the entertainment world when, they have a lot of money. So normally with a whole lot of money, the crowd that you're going to be around is going to probably be a lot of Europeans, especially in America. Right. And I think that because of that, they lose themselves, and you see them start getting like surgery, like little Kim. You see like little Kim. She changed up her face, and I'm just speaking to the point of us having like Greek philosophies or being around Europeans for long periods of time, reading their literature and basically assimilate into their culture,
Right.
it doesn't help us psychologically. And I've seen examples of that in my own world with Black people, and also looking out into the celebrity world, if you will. And I've seen examples of how detrimental it is in
Mhm.
that world too. So that's just to piggyback off of what you were saying,
Right.
or what the brothers.
Because I would like to read something that our people stated about the knowledge of self. Okay. And this is from the book, which I recommend highly.
Oh yeah.
Now Valley's Contribution to Civilization
Yep.
by Anthony T. Broder. And he has now Know Thyself, right?
Right.
And it states, a person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them.
Disregard them.
Disregard them. When we talked about that the other time, don't waste your
Right.
your mind on a foolish person, because that's intellectual suicide.
Right.
All right, that's what this is getting at. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. Teach them. Okay. A person who knows not and believes that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. A person who knows and knows not that they know is asleep. Awaken them.
Mm-hmm.
A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All of these persons reside in you. Know thyself, and to Maat be true. We know the Maat, brother, Mr. James, Professor James, told us what the Maat, Sum Bono, the greatest good, right? That was a female with the wings. That's where the Europeans get the concept of an angel from, with people with the wings on the back.
Right.
That means they're soaring to higher heights of consciousness. That's
Right.
what the symbolism is. Consciousness and balance, harmony, okay, respect. That's what Maat is. That's Islam.
Yes, sir.
That's Islam.
Yes, sir.
Now, to get into the mind of the Negro, the reason why they were even choose to be copying the Greeks, okay? Let's read from Mr. Carter G. Wilson. Remember him?
Oh yeah.
All right. Carter G. Wilson was the gentleman that started Negro History Week. I'm old enough to remember when it was called still Negro History Week. It was Negro History Week up until the early 70s or so. Then it became Black History Month, because I lived through that transition. So he states in the Miseducation of the Negro, quote, no systematic effort towards change has been possible, for taught the same economics, history, philosophy, literature, and religion which have established the present code of morals. The Negro's mind has been brought under the control of his oppressor.
Mm.
The problem of holding the Negro down, therefore, is easily solved. When you control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions.
Mm.
You do not have to tell him not to stand here or go yonder. He will find his quote unquote proper place and stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told.
Mm.
In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary. Okay?
Okay.
All right. And so When you get to the Boule, they cut a back door into the white man's house. They want to be the protectors of the king, right? The Boule is the advisors to the king. They are the buffer zone between the masses or grassroots of Black people and this system. They protect the entrance of the white ruling class.
Okay, so now some would say, so okay, would you say all of those who are part of the fraternities are Boule or no?
No, not all the people that are part of fraternities are part of the Boule, but the Boule, yes, sir.
Now,
Mhm.
I had to ask that, and because I'm I'm getting texts and stuff like that, building with people who
Mhm.
are part of fraternities before or know people in fraternities, and one of the brothers said he read your book before,
Mhm.
right? And he said that I forgot exactly what he said, but I don't want to paraphrase him and tell a lie. However,
Mhm.
I do know for what he was getting at was that people being a part of fraternities or boule, and that's the overall not message, but what you said. And I think that's a misunderstanding.
Mhm.
I understood that you were basically saying not all people in fraternities are a part of the boule. There's just a certain few
Right.
that are part of these fraternities that are boule. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that see the Boule, they're over the Divine Nine. Okay.
Okay.
So they're the governing body of the Divine Nine. And so that's 10. That makes 10. They make the 10.
Hmm.
And that's that 10% class that Master Farad Muhammad was warning us about in our lessons. Okay.
Hmm.
They teach the lies, they believe the lies. They teach the lies. They know better,
Hmm.
but they teach lies. Okay. And they make merchandise out of the 85%.
Right.
Okay. You see this with the voting aspects in this society. The politicians, the Black politicians, many of them are Boule. The ones that are into politics, especially the ones that try to run Christianity and politics at the same time, like Reverend Al Sharpton, for an example. Okay, I saw an interesting clip with ex-vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris, and she was at the National Action Network. Now, to show you that they are paying attention to the Black grassroots, she changed her tune, talking about Black people. Oh, she gave us permission. That's one thing she said. I give you permission to be transactional with your votes. Okay, Black people have been hollering about reparation, what some tangibles for our votes for many years. Okay, and that she was speaking out against the gatekeepers. He said something about gatekeepers. And that's the language of the Black grassroots, right? You should have seen Al Sharpton's face. Okay. He nearly died. Okay. But what's happening is they're paying attention to the Black grassroots because the Black grassroots today are very aware of the 10% class. As W.E.B. Du Bois called them, the talented 10. That's what he was getting at. All right. So
Now, can you
yeah.
explain the talented 10, right? Because I'm
Mhm.
also getting things like from different people. The talented 10 wasn't this, the talented 6 was that. So can you explain the talented 10?
The talented 10% of the Black population, your doctors, lawyers, scientists, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
That's what Mr. Du Bois was talking about.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if you're joining a fraternity to keep down the Black masses, you are a 10%er. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's just plain and simple. All right.
Right.
And the way it was structured is all Greek. Now we know long before the Greeks ever produced one philosopher, the Kemites had already built the most sophisticated school of thought, okay, on the planet.
That's for sure.
Before there was even one Greek philosopher. Okay, yes, sir. And that was man's first major earthly system of salvation. Your earthly salvation.
Mhm.
All right, your heaven on earth. How do you maneuver on this planet, this spaceship we call the Earth? Okay, how do you survive here? Okay, what's your connected to the Creator? What's your connection to the land? Okay, all right.
Right.
This is our own planet. We should be able to master it and be in heaven while we live. Okay, our earthly salvation. Okay. Now, the most advanced intellectual civilization in the world was Kemet. We know that.
Oh yeah.
Okay. From mathematics, medicine, geography, architecture,
Mm-hmm.
cosmology. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad did teach us also cosmology. Master Farad Muhammad taught us cosmology. If he's giving you the origin of God himself, that's cosmology. Okay. If he's giving you the origin of the black man, which is the Allah, that's cosmology. Mm-hmm. If he gives you the full history of the making of the Caucasian race, that's cosmology. Okay. Bring you face to face with God and the devil. All right. And so the Greek, these people that they hold up as great people like Socrates, Aristotle, etc. They didn't come to Egypt as teachers. They came there to learn. They came as students. Okay. Mm-hmm. So again, if you're going to hold up your own people, you should hold up your own people, your own black people's greatness, and not copy off after people who copied off of us. It makes no sense. Okay. So we go here. We state that these same Greeks students then returned to Greece with our knowledge, and they claimed it like it was their own. Okay. Now, they weren't the ancient Greek was no such thing as ancient white people. So, but the Greeks were they were not ashamed of where they received their knowledge. They wrote it in their diaries. Herodotus admitted it that the Greeks got all their information from the Egyptians. Okay, he admitted it in his writings. All right. So for Black people to be involved in Greek fraternities, like you say, worshiping Greek intellect is detrimental to our mentality. It's bad. You're putting mental chains on yourself. Okay, it's not necessary, especially in 2026. Now, here's an example. Pythagoras, he spent 22 years learning advanced mathematics in Kemet. That's not a quick stay. That's not a 4-year college degree, is it? 22 years he studied in Kemet. Plato spent 13 years studying in Kemet. Then we have the priest Sanches of Sais, who told Solon, who was like the father of their political system, the democracy, setting up democracy for the Greeks, the concept of democracy, where he told Solon, quote, the Greeks are like children compared to the Egyptians. That Greek civilization was young and untested, lacking lacking the accumulated wisdom of thousands of years, end quote. And if you look at the birth of the white race, what he said, the Greeks were young. That's true. They just got there. just got on the planet in 4004 BC. There's no such thing as ancient white people. Okay? There's no such thing as ancient white people at all. So there are 3 great books that you can go and do your own research. And that would be Stolen Legacy, George G.M. James, 1954. Martin Burnell, Black Athenia, 1987. And the other book that I mentioned was Nile Valley's Contribution to Civilization by Anthony T. Broder, 1992. Okay. So whether some people there's some people who were in these fraternities and they're online now, giving up all their rituals right now. Okay. And they've gone to, these are mostly Christians and what have you. Okay. But they're giving up all of their rituals, what they say in these societies, where they perform these rituals. So, don't get mad at me. I mean, I'm not giving up your little rituals. I'm just stating that you should promote your own Black history. You should promote your own people's thoughts and not worship the white man. It's still worshiping the white man. Okay, period. All right. Even with the Christian, some people think they are the ones now that I've been noticing online that is giving up the various secrets on these college fraternities, what they do, the rituals, the process, how they've been hazed, and et cetera, et cetera. They said they came into the light of Jesus. Well, Jesus, you're still in the dark. Okay, with that, because there's another Greek formed religion, Christianity. Okay, and Christianity is nothing but a solar cult. So they took a historical figure, Isa, and peace be upon her, and wrapped a solar cult around a historical figure.
Now, when you say solar cult,
yeah,
what do you mean?
Well, you have Jesus is the son, so they call him the Son of God, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
All right. S-U-N. Okay, let's take an example. If you look at that photograph or a painting of Leonardo da Vinci,
mm-hmm.
Last Supper. Okay, now visualize that painting. Now, to Jesus's right in the painting, there's a woman. Okay, that is not a man sitting to the right of who they say that is Jesus. That's a woman. And you got 12 disciples. Okay, which zodiac sign is a female?
Which zodiac sign is a female? It would be, I don't know.
Be Virgo.
Virgo. Okay.
Okay. So when you see in that 12 is symbology. Mm-hmm. Okay. You got 12 disciples. They represent the 12 zodiac. Mm-hmm. The sun moving through the 12 houses of the different zodiacs. Mm-hmm. Signs. Okay. You got 12 disciples. And then you have the sign of Virgo is the only female. So you get also the 4 gospels is representative or symbolic of the 4 seasons. Mm. If you look at the gospels, each of the 4 gospels are different. So they tell them a different aspect of the sun and its relationship to the sun. 4 seasons, you got the 4 cardinal points. You got fall, winter, spring, spring, summer, fall, and winter, and the 4 seasons in these 4 gospels. Okay. So this is just, it's just the sun making this journey around the 4 cardinal points. Okay. Then you have, instead of Suleiman, they have Solomon. Okay. Let's look at that. S-O-L, that's Latin for sun. Mm-hmm. O-M is Hindu for sun. And O-N is Egyptian or Kemetic for sun. Solomon. Okay, it's a sun cult. Then they have you performing a ritual on the first Sunday of the month, right? That's when you eat the bread of Jesus and drink his blood.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's spiritual cannibalism. Okay, you got me?
Yeah.
So we must get away from this old way of thinking. You know, we're going into a new age. Okay, these are the days of Allah. These are this is the coming of a new age. Remember, the messenger taught us, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that Allah makes all things new. So we're gonna have to let go of these things that we were following and doing under this age, the Piscean age. Okay, now we move into what? The age of the Aquarian age, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so for the past 2,000 years, the symbol has been the fish. That was the early symbol of the Christians, the fish. That's Pisces. And who popped up during that period? Jesus. And he told his people to be what? Fishers of men. So for the past 2,000 years, people have been just following. Okay? They've been followers, not knowers, followers. Okay? And people have been leading the people around in this society for the past 2,000 years like schools of fish. They've been shepherded like schools of fish. Don't question God. Remember they used to tell you that? Right? What's the other thing they tell you? Oh, we walk by faith and not by sight.
Right.
No, you just walking blindly. We walk by faith and not by sight. Okay? So now we're moving into what? The Aquarian age. All right? This is the period where all the information, no more secrets, abundance of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is being poured out. Remember, that's a person pouring out water out of a vessel onto the people. And that is what's happening. People are becoming more conscious, more spiritually conscious, more aware of their surroundings, more aware how this world actually works. Okay, and with every new age, there's revolution. Okay, so say for example, Yaqub. Okay, the time of Yaqub, that was the age of Taurus, the bull. Okay, and if you study the Egyptian society back then, they had a lot of symbolism with the bull. The Apis bull was popular during that time. That period of time went from 4004, not 4004, but 4400 BC to 2200 BC. All right. Then you had the age of what? Aries, the ram. So you had a lot of ram imagery. If you look at the Egyptian history, some of the temples then had the ram imagery of the ram's heads around their temples. Okay, that's where the Jews get their horn, that ram's horn that they blow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that comes from. Also, you had the Lamb of God terminology coming out during that time. Okay, so this is nothing but the movement from one age to another. Which is why Master Farad Muhammad stated, I'm the one that the world has been waiting on for the past 2,000 years. Okay, he's bringing in a new world, a new age, and a new Islam.
All right. Well, to bring it back to Boule, right? Now, a brother said here, Haran to go to the leadership, the Boule, you have
Hmm.
to go through the divine nine.
Yes.
Okay. For the men, it is the Boule. For the ladies, it is the links.
Hmm.
INC. The divine nine is the doorway to the Boule in links.
Right.
Now, what is the divine nine?
That is the male and female sororities and fraternities. Okay.
Oh, so there are nine
So you
female.
have like I believe it's 4 or 5 fraternities for the men, or four for the men, and I don't know right here, but 4 for the men and 5 for the women, or so vice versa. But it equals to 9. The 10th is the ruling body, which would be the Boule. Okay. And even within the Boule, you have different structures. You have the Grand Sire, Archon. Okay. You have subordinates and what have you. So when we had our last conversation, some type of way, Allah was able to and get these to me.
Mm.
I haven't finished reading all of this yet. This is the history of Sigma Pi Phi. This one was came out in 1995. Okay, so that was the history of the Boule from say the 1960s up to 1995. This is what this gentleman did. His name was Hobart S. Jarrett, and then we have that was volume 2. This is volume 1, the history of Sigma Pi Phi by Charles S. Wesley. Okay. So when you're going looking through here, like I said, I haven't had the chance to read the whole book, both books, but they set this up mainly for the Black upper middle class or the Black moneyed people. Okay. And they wanted to have a society where they could meet and feel comfortable. All right. Separated from the Black lower class, and even some of the Prince Hall Masons, they felt that they were above that. Okay. So this was just it was a secret society, and they say so, for the Black money upper class. Okay. All right. They set themselves apart from the Black masses. All right. They were more interested in this system. All right. The people that you may ask, what are they protecting? Well, if you remember Carol Quigley, have you heard of Carol Quigley?
I don't remember that name, no.
Yeah, he was a professor at Georgetown University. He wrote the book American Anglo Establishment. He wrote the book Tragedy and Hope. All right. I would dare say that these are the people that the Boule are protecting. The system. Okay. The system. They protect the system. All right. They keep us down. So you look at, like we said before, one of the main targets of the Boule was Marcus Garvey. Back in the day, it was Marcus Garvey. All right. And what was Marcus Garvey doing for Black people? Trying to awaken. All right. Try to establish an economic base. All right. Try to connect the Black Americans to their brothers and sisters on the continent. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All right. Go for self, do for self. Black pride. All right. And why was he attacked? Going against the grain, going against the system. Same thing with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Nation of Islam. The people that infiltrated the Nation of Islam, same thing, same purpose, to keep us from being a self-independent people. Okay? Because they benefit from us not knowing. And it protects the white man from us rising up and making certain demands for our people, causing confusion within our ranks. Okay. So anytime you undermine your own best interests, you are indeed a traitor.
For sure.
You're a traitor. And I can't help it, people get upset. But people today, I know I've been tired of these people playing in our faces. I've been watching these sellout black leaders playing in our faces for the past 46 years. They've been playing in our faces. You had back in the 80s, Jesse Jackson running for president. Didn't make no sense. How a preacher gonna run for president? It's supposed to be a separation of church and state, right?
Right.
What the Christian preacher, black Christian preacher with a slave name running for president? That was a grift. Okay, he's supposed to be for us. How you gonna run the American empire? You want to be the head of the American empire? Okay, Reverend. Okay, what is that about? Okay,
Indeed.
then you had Mr. Farrakhan. He knew better. He knew better than to back Jesse. And what happened when he backed Jesse Jackson? Jesse Jackson repudiated him when the white man told him to, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Remember that? Okay. So I'm tired of them. They've been playing in our faces for way too long. We need to learn the knowledge of ourselves. And this is it here. Message to the black man. This is from the messenger of Allah, the very last one. This is the message. And this is what we should be studying and implementing again. Do what works. Do what we know works. And stop praising Greek intellect. Praise your own people. Look up to them. Study their history and learn all about them. Okay? And be yourself in the modern age. That's basically what I've been trying to say. Okay? Time out for all this old stuff. It's played out. And I'm glad to see a lot of the younger people are asking questions about how this government works and what's been going on. How come we don't have anything? Well, you have a lot of very wealthy people working against you, and some of them have been your own people. You say before, all skin folks ain't kinfolks.
Ain't kinfolk. That's a fact. That's a fact. So I know the screen is a little weird right now. I'm having technical difficulties on my end, so okay. I had to figure it out just so I can close a meeting when it's time to close.
Yes, sir.
My screen is frozen a little bit, but anyway, let's go on to the next thing. So just to clarify, the Boule are not all fraternities. To get to the Boule, you definitely have to go through the Divine Nine.
Well, these gentlemen here have to invite you.
They have to invite you.
You have to be invited into the Boule. Now, say you could be a Kappa, Alpha Phi Alpha, etc., and be a part of the Boule, but you have to be invited. That means you have to be in that class of people. Okay, on the financial level, no scandals. Can be scandalous that they can find, and of a certain class, money class, or status, then or accomplishments in your field of endeavors. Okay, so you have lawyers, doctors, etc., engineers that they feel that you would be an asset to their core beliefs, then they will invite you in.
Right. I have a sister asking who's in this podcast. That's just me. That's another thing up there because like I said, I'm having technical difficulties, so I won't be able to. Me is me. That's me, Ron.
That's you. Okay, but I'm looking. I can see you.
Yeah. No, it's another screen up here that says me.
Yeah, I see that with me.
Yeah, okay. That's me. If I don't have this up, I won't be able to close the meeting out because my computers haven't. So I don't know, something's going on with it. Anyway, so let's move on to the next thing. I see Zeta 1914, Zeta Phi Beta sorority, 1920, Sigma Gamma Rho sorority, and then 1922, Lada Phi Theta fraternity. 1963, and then so another the brother also put Alpha Phi Alpha, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood Marshall, W.E.B. Du Bois, Jesse O. I didn't know Jesse Owens, Duke Ellington.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Omega Phi Psi, well, Omega Psi Phi, Langston Hughes,
Hmm.
Michael Jordan, Steve Harvey, Shaquille O'Neal, Louis Farrakhan.
Yes. Funny you mentioned that.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, he's a member of the Omegas. Most entertainers are. Okay. Most entertainers are. Here's a picture of Mr. Farrakhan and also Tony Muhammad and his son Mustafa. Uh, there, Omega. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Uh-huh. You notice that was all entertainers. Langston Hughes, he was a writer and poet.
Right.
Okay.
George Washington Carver, Huey P. Newton, Emmett, Emmett Smith, Jerry Rice, on and on.
Yes.
T.C. Carson, Harry Alford, Spencer Christian, Alvin Hayes, and so on and so on. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So why is a Muslim leader a part of a Greek fraternity? Why is that?
I would say because maybe that was something he was in before joining the Nation of Islam.
Okay. All right. So you ever read chapter 58, verse 8 in the Holy Quran?
No.
It talks about people belonging to secret councils, and the secret councils are used for sin and revolt against the messenger, and they've returned to that which they were forbidden.
Mm.
Okay, you know, it's clear. We're talking about Islamic rules, not what you want. It ain't about what you want.
Right.
You got me? If it's about what you want, then don't be in anything. Just do you.
Right.
Be a follower of Alex de Crawley then. Just period. Do your thing.
Mm.
But if you say you're a Muslim follower of the messenger, and you know the ruling on Islam in secret societies, there was a ruling in 1978 about these secret societies with relationship to Muslims. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was very clear about it being the Masonic orders and other secret societies.
Mm.
He was very clear. He was against it.
He was against it. Now that's what I was talking about last night. No,
Yes.
that Monday night about
Mhm.
that. So you say he was against it. Now, do you have any proof of that so people can go back and take a look at that? When he
Yes,
said
sir.
he was against masonry or fraternities.
He was well, if you're in a fraternity, okay, let me put it like this. The fraternities are based on Freemasonry. Okay.
Okay.
These fraternities were started by Freemasons. Some of the rituals sound like Masonic rituals.
Mm.
Okay. Well, anytime you start burning candles and have an altar and you kneeling down and you taking the oath to any deity, whether it's a Greek deity or Jabalan, it is against Islam. I didn't make the rules. I'm just quoting, okay? Following Islamic law. So you wanted to know what the messenger had to say. Quote, these same strangers, he's talking about the white man, take your own emblem of Allah and the knowledge of his temple, which Solomon, your own black brother Muslim, gave you as a warning. They sell it to you after diluting and changing its name from Islam, freedom, justice, and equality, to Freemasonry. Freemasonry. But it is not Freemasonry here. It is free by Masonry, B-U-Y, quote unquote. They changed the name Muslim to Mason, and none must be called Muslim under Masonic law until he pays a great sum of money for the 33rd degree. What would be the price for the 360th degree, which is the whole circle? That was Honorable Elijah Muhammad, August 25th, 1934. The messenger went on to say, and another quote concerning Freemasonry, before the coming of Allah, Islam was sold to so-called Negroes in a secret order or society called the Masons. This order is made up of 33 degrees and is sold by degrees. If a member is eligible and able to pay for all the degrees, he may do so. But only those who take the 33rd are called Muslim Shriners. Though real Islam is not practiced in this secret order, it is made a farce. The first 3 degrees are based off the whole. They are full of significance pertaining to the robbery and murder of a valuable member of the significant temple and a friend of the wisest king that ever lived. Islam is free. You do not have to buy Islam. It is free. Islam is the salvation of the Black nation and the only way out for so-called American Negroes. Islam means submission to the will of Allah God. What greater religion than a religion that demands us to submit to the will of Almighty God Allah? The number one principle of belief in Islam is the belief in one God. Is not this the teachings of the prophets of old, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad? End quote. The messenger of Allah, Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Then he has another quote. I have another quote from the messenger. 90% of the ministers of the Protestant world are members of the Masonic order, and is something to be appalled at when you know what is going on in the Masonic Lodge, especially when we see that he is a Mason and a follower of the devil in their rituals. End quote. That's what the messenger of Allah said. I'm a Muslim, so I'm going to follow what the messenger of Allah said. Now, if that's the messenger's opinion, that's Allah's opinion. Remember, he taught everything that was taught to him by Master Farad Muhammad. The messenger said, I too was once a Mason until I became a Muslim. He renounced Freemasonry when he became a Muslim. That's just history. Those are exact quotes. If you get the book, there's a book that was compiled with all of the quotes on Freemasonry from the messenger. It's called The Secret of Freemasonry by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Okay? That's just Islam. So they use Solomon. They lift up Solomon in the Masonic order. And they say it was Solomon's temple.
Yeah.
If you read have you ever read the Holy Quran, verse 102?
No.
Okay, go read it. It condemns Freemasonry. They say the devils, follow what they fabricated against the kingdom of Solomon. Solomon was a Muslim, but the devils disbelieved in teaching men, and they taught men magic. Okay, etc. It goes on. It's a very lengthy verse. So if you, in your own time, look up Holy Quran, chapter 2, 102. But read the verse before it. Okay? It talks about the Jews or the white man who took the book of Allah and threw it over his back as if he knew nothing. That's the Torah. They threw that away and wrote their own book, which was the Talmud. Okay? And they follow. Okay? This is where this is coming from. The lie that the lie that King Solomon was a black magician comes from the Jews. All right. We do know that Solomon had command of the men and jinn. All right. He had the language of the birds. He was a very wise man. All right. But he wasn't a Freemason. He was a Muslim. He was a Muslim. They put that lie on him. They even say Jesus was a Freemason. That's a lie. He was a Muslim. Isa was a Muslim. Okay? The white man has always been lying on the prophets. All the debauchery that they have these prophets doing in the Bible is a lie. Like Lot sleeping with his daughters after he escaped Sodom and Gomorrah with his daughters. They have that in there.
Mm-hmm.
They have him engaging in incest. They have David killing a guy because he wanted the man's wife and set the man up to be murdered in a war. You know, prophets doing that. That's a lie. Okay? That's a lie that the white man put in there. The other lie, we're cursed people because we're black.
Yeah.
The Ham myth. That's a lie the Jews started. That's a lie. Okay? But read the Holy Quran. It condemns Freemasonry nearly from cover to cover. Okay, and also, if you don't mind, if we have time, just want to, for the Orthodox or traditional Muslims who might have missed the memo about Freemasonry and Muslims, have a 1978 legal judgment regarding the ruling on Masonic membership in Masonic movements for Muslims. There's a ruling from 1978. This was during the first session, which was convened in Mecca on the 10th of Sahaban, or in the year 1398, present time, which would be the year 1978, the 15th of July. That academy stated, number one, Masonic movement is a secret society which sometimes hides its organization and sometimes reveals it, according to the prevailing conditions of the time and place. However, the true principles upon which this organization is based are secret at all times, the knowledge of which is hidden even from its members, except a chosen few who reach through the many different experiences at the highest level. All right. Number two, the movement builds a relationship between members of all corners of the world based upon a superficial foundation in order to fool the gullible people, which is of the human brotherhood alleged to exist between all members of the organization, which supposedly makes no distinction between different faiths, creeds, and ideologies. Okay. They went on to state that that's the number 7, going down to number 7, this is very lengthy. The organization is Jewish in origin and is secretly managed and directed at the highest level by international Jewry and its activities are Zionist in character.
Mm.
All right. It went on to state in the end, for this reason and many other detailed facts concerning the dangerous activity of the Masons, their evil deception and cunning design, the Academy that has determined that the Masons are one of the most dangerous, destructive organizations to Islam and Muslims, and whoever joins them, knowing the truth of them and their aims, is a disbeliever in Islam and should be avoided. End quote. That's just the ruling. Now, if you're Muslim, that's the ruling. That's the ruling. If you're a follower of the messenger, you heard what he had to say. That's the ruling. I'm not arguing with anybody. Okay. I ain't getting into no back and forth with no one. If you're a follower of Islam, and if you're a follower of the new Islam, you can't be a Mason and a Muslim at the same time. That's just it. Okay, I don't care about your tradition. I have a Masonic. My father was a Mason. My grandfather was a Mason. That was their business. I never joined. Okay, I read a book back in 1980 by Morgan. You ever heard of Morgan? He gave it exposed Mason. We went through every step of it. The book by Morgan. I believe it was Captain Morgan, early 1800s. He had a statement in there that said every Mason walks hand in hand with the devil. And he had a picture of a man walking down the road, dark road, with a goat and holding hands with a goat. That's just it. I'm not arguing with anybody. Don't get mad at me. I'm just following the laws of Islam. So if you got a problem, you got a problem with Allah and his messenger, not with me. Your argument is with them, not me.
Right.
I just want to get that out the way. I don't want to hear no threats, none of that crap. All right, because I ain't scared. You got me?
Indeed.
I got swords too. All right?
Indeed.
Know how to use.
On that note, we got another podcast coming up real soon. Thank you, brother, for coming out this evening.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
I really appreciate you. If you want to come back and do part 3, that'll be peace to finish it out. The final.
We'll work on that.
The final chapter.
Yes, sir. We'll work on that.
Indeed.
All
indeed.
Right, my brother.
Thank you for coming out. Assalamu alaikum. Peace to everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you. If you have any last words you would like to state, I
would like to thank you for inviting me on 3 times. Okay, I know I'm a little bit different. Okay, I'm just traditional with what I know to be true. Okay, and I'm gonna hold the line on the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's where I gave my pledge to my teacher, to defend the faith and tell the truth no matter what. Indeed. All right. And with that, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Now I'm gonna try to end this live from my phone. If it doesn't work, I don't know what's gonna happen, but let's see what happens. Everybody, see you in a few minutes. Peace.